So what do you do this time of year with the sizzling heat? What will survive? What will bloom all summer? Those are the questions. And we've got Chris H. Olsen here with me with more on a few late crop seasonal colors that will thrive even in the summer heat, and that can actually be planted right now.
Yeah, I mean, we think it's over, and the season is not over. There are a lot of garden centers that are carrying late crops of certain types of annuals and perennials that thrive in the sizzling summer heat. And we have a lot of these actually in the weather garden. If you look in the weather garden, it looks beautiful. So I brought some that are great and they're wonderful to go ahead and plant now, and they'll last until we have a hard frost.
Wow.
So we still have several months ahead of us. So the first thing is I love the firebush.
Yeah, those are so fun. Orange, bright orange.
Isn't that bright orange? It's not only that, but if you notice, the bright orange looks great against the foliage because it's a golden color.
Gorgeous.
And if you add a lime green in the garden, even if it didn't have flowers, it brings out everything else.
Okay.
So it's a great compliment. Then we'll start over here. This is begonias. Of course, begonias are probably one of my favorite flowers, but this one is called Big Ceres. It has the big flower and the big foliage. Now, this is the green leaf Big Ceres, which is a more shade tolerant, loves the heat, but shade. There is a bronze leaf begonia. If it has a dark foliage, that can take the full sun.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you do that. Then impatiens. Now, a lot of us don't know, but this is called a sun impatient. It grows in full sun.
Wow, okay.
And what's great about it, it's easy to grow and very colorful, especially if you mix the colors. But they require lots of water. So if you're not a good waterer, you don't want that.
That was what I was going to ask is, you know, if these can survive in this heavy, heavy heat, do you need to water them more?
Well, you do. You know, I mean, everything's drying out. We haven't been having rain lately as much as we have. We're starting to dry out a little bit. We usually do that when we get to August. So you got to make sure you water a couple times a week. And a plant will tell you what it needs. If it starts to wilt, water it really well. Now, if you water it really well and it's still wilting, it may be you're overwatering. So you got to watch it. And then, of course, if you're not a good waterer, then you might want to do the periwinkle or vinca. Now, that's an old-fashioned annual that's been around for a while, but they came out with new hybrids with new colors.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really like that light pink with the hot pink in the middle.
Yeah,
Very
and you mix
pretty.
everything together, looks good.
Yeah.
And this is called false heather, which is an annual, but believe it or not, for years it's been coming back. And of course, our old standbys are lantana. There's purslane, which doesn't look like much right now because it opens with the sun.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, sun coleus. Mix all of these together for one awesome display.
These are amazing. They're very, very beautiful. For people that still have some flowers out that aren't as heat, you know, good in the heat, I mean, is there things that they can do to the plants that they have right now to just help?
Yeah, fertilize.
Okay.
Keep them snipped, deadhead them, and fertilize with Miracle-Gro or anything you like, an all-purpose fertilizer, and they'll bloom all the way through the fall.
Great advice.
We're hanging out in the beautiful sun with lifestyle expert Chris H. Olsen from Botanica Gardens, and we are talking planters in the sun.
Yeah, container garden in the sun can be hard because, as you know, in the south, it is hot.
So hot.
So you want to find plants that will thrive all summer long and that grow in intense heat.
And we have a couple of different purposes, one for color, so let's start with that one. I love this.
Well, my favorite, of course, is color. And here we have the tropical hibiscus. And because it's a tropical plant, it loves the heat and the humidity as well. And then we mixed it with the croton. Croton is just a foliage plant, but add the two together, it looks beautiful.
Colors.
And it's not always about the flowers, it's also about the foliage. And then when you use oranges and yellows, it's always great to mix in some blue. It really complements it very well. So we have what's called blue fanflower or scalviola, which is the ground cover. It will droop over the pot. And then, of course, there's a geranium in there too for a little bit of fuchsia.
And you said this is a hibiscus?
That's a hibiscus.
Hibiscus. I say it right. I say it southern.
You got a southern.
Can I, like, eat this?
Well, you can't. I don't know if you can eat a hibiscus flower, although they do preserve them and you can eat that, so maybe you could.
I'm not going to try that.
Don't get mad at me if you eat it.
What about this plant over here?
But talking about eating things, try that.
So, this smells really good. You can eat it?
Well, I didn't say you could eat it. I said just try. Yeah, you can. It's basil. It's basil. And what's great about this is not only a beautiful pot because it has contrasting greens, but it's edible. So we have our basil. We have our purple basil, which is beautiful. And then, of course, we also add marigolds in because the story goes, marigolds keeps the insects away. So it keeps your plants clean.
That's good to know.
And then this non-existent looking plant is actually portulaca. Now the heat of the summer, it's going to be in full bloom and beautiful.
Wow. Wow. And what about over there?
This is rosemary, which smells wonderful. It has variegated thyme in there, variegated sage. So even though they're not known for the flowers, the variegation, the leaves, makes some contrast to everything. And then of course we also have got garlic, we got cilantro and parsley, all in one area on the front porch. It's okay. So when you're out here, you know, sipping a drink, you can nibble on this, and it's really good.
And maybe even put it in your drink, and maybe you can cook with it, and the smell of it by itself.
That's exactly right. It's not just taste, it's the scent.
You brought, this is very large. You brought some very big decorations.
I thought, you know, I'm all about having fun in the garden. It doesn't matter if you have a traditional home, a contemporary home, or a very elegant home. You can add fun, classic elements that make all the difference. Maybe not necessarily in your front yard, but can be in your backyard. So I brought a few things that we sell at the store. First thing is we have these great metal butterflies. And what's cool about these is we even have bigger ones than this. So these are cool where you can, they can hang. So you can hang them on your fence gate, or you know, different places like that to brighten up a dull area on the fence. They also come with stakes. So sometimes at a front door or such, I will plant the front pot and then stick this in there at a slight angle, and that adds fun. And this is what people are going to remember. It's not so much the plants, they're going to remember the fun art.
Right.
That's one option. Then I love using metal art as in flowers. So these are really cool. We even have bigger ones. This is great for a front door. Normally, what do you do at a front door? You put one.
Right.
But I'll do like one down lower on the door, and then I might do a medium size, and then a smaller one at a slight little angle.
Oh, so the whole door.
Yeah, for the whole door, and that really changes it up. And again, these are great on fences because these are rust-proof, etc., but they add a lot of oomph. Always do odd numbers when you come to it.
Okay.
So metal art, such as flowers, are great and such.
And
now,
they come in different sizes.
Different sizes, and yeah, they're bigger than this.
But I want to know what these big spheres are.
The spheres. These are awesome. I have used these for years. Now, let me ask you, in your yard, okay, Adam, this is a question for you. Okay, how would you use this sphere?
Put it in the bottom of my pool.
You know, actually, that's a great idea. I've done that before.
Have you for real?
I've done that. Now, these rust, just so you know. But if they don't rust, yes, you can do it.
I have no idea what I would do with that. I don't know. Hang it from a tree and make it an ornament.
That's actually, okay, good. A couple things. First of all, I usually just set them in the flower bed. Makes all the difference. And then you can reach through and plant flowers in the middle of it and let them grow up.
What about vines?
Or
can you do
a vine
vines
on it, and it's just sitting in the flower bed. I've also used them on pots. So if you have a big container, maybe you get the smaller sphere, you just set it on the pot, plant it, mandevilla vine, and you have a whole cool little look like that.
I think you need to hang these from your trees in the
now
backyard.
this one, if you want to bring this one up, it does have a chain on it.
Oh, yeah, sure does.
If you hang assortment of these in a tree, it is really, really cool. And it just adds that special funness to it.
Right.
Now they come.
Funness is good.
There are two halves that are actually wired together. Now what I've also done, remember you gotta think outside of the box. Take them apart. And I've actually hung these on a wall like this, put the cocoa mat in half of it and planted it as a wall decoration with living plants.
So you can get creative.
You can get very creative. It's all thinking outside of the box. At the end of the day, it's adding color, which may not be in flower form, but it's in art form and fun to your garden.
These would look so cool in my backyard with a bunch of twinkly lights on it at nighttime. Oh man.
You can use, I've used them for Christmas time, wrapping them. I have them in my yard lit for Christmas, the lights wrapped around them. It's just endless possibilities. It's just let yourself go and let your imagination flow.
Right. I think a lot of people get nervous about adding things like this to their backyard, but it brings so much. And yeah, just it's kind of your own little, you know, your own little paradise, your own little space to get creative.
If it's done classy-wise, like you can put this in your front yard, cover it in vine so it softens it.
Right.
But you have that sphere of vine. It can be very elegant as well. More plants.
Yeah, it's got more plants. We're going to be talking about
only
there's more to know.
addiction in life is plants.
That's right. Well, that's good. So what are we?
Okay, we're talking about container gardening. So first we're going to start off about the container, what you want to use. First thing you want to think about material. You got terracotta clay, which happens to be one of my favorite. But remember, that absorbs the moisture. So the chances of, in the middle of the winter, if we have a really cold snap, it could freeze and expand and crack the pot.
Oh.
Okay.
Possible. So there's also concrete, but this is glazed. And if you get a high fired glaze, which costs just a little bit more, but when they're high fired, they won't absorb moisture and they'll last years and years and years outside. Now remember, there is no guarantee that winter won't crack it, but usually not. So once you determine your pot, you want to also determine the size of the container. The bigger the pot, the better, because the less you have to water it. If it's a small pot like this size, in the heat of summertime, you're probably gonna have to water it every day.
Really? Okay.
But if it was 3 times the size, probably every other day or every third day. So I always get the bigger the better if you can.
Okay.
Okay. Then you got to talk about soil. Soil is very important because it's like the foundation to a home. If you skimp on the foundation, even though the house is so beautiful, it can eventually collapse and fall.
Right.
If you use real inexpensive potting soil, then it clogs and gets heavy. It leaks this dark substance when you water it. So my favorite is Fertilome, is Ultimate Potting Mix. I've used everything out there, including Miracle Grow, which has good potting soil, but the Fertilome is the best because it has nutrients. It has vermiculite, perlite, which is like that white stuff in it that lightens it up, but it's not all peat moss. To me, Miracle Grow is a little bit more too much peat moss, too light. Anyhow, so you want to get good soil. Then remember, once you plant your plants, really you gotta fertilize if you want beautiful containers to last throughout the summer. So I brought something new. This is called PR61. Oh my God.
He loves this stuff.
This is brand new. I talked about it once before, but I'm telling you, this stuff is amazing. If you do this about every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, your plants will, your neighbors are gonna be so jealous at you.
Right. Yeah, you used to bring something else, but now you're like,
Miracle Grow, and I
you still like it, but you are loving this right now.
Yeah, Miracle Grow's middle number is 30. This is 58. Which
Yeah.
is which is blooming power. It's like double. So yeah. And then don't forget about your plants. In the last 2 weeks, we talked about sun lovers for seasonal color and shade lovers. So you can always go back, to thv11.com and look at those segments.
Right.
But we do mixed pots already. So you always want something that they call the spiller, that hangs over and helps soften the pot, which also shades the pot so the plant root system is not so hot in summer.
Right.
So you're not watering. And then you want an upright plant in the middle or to the side. It doesn't have to be the middle. This is big series begonias. So we got the pink and the red. We got yellow, which is my favorite color because it complements every color in the rainbow.
Okay.
And then we have the blue scaviola. This is hot sun.
Oh,
this will
gotcha.
last all summer. And then this one has the coleus in it, more begonias, and
So
this
pretty.
wonderful plant called plectranthus.
I like that. It's just giving it some.
Yeah, and it's
Plectranthus.
kind of, and rub it. And you smell it when you rub
Kind
it.
of.
Smell
me
it.
smell.
Smells good.
What's it smell like?
And it has a kind of a salvia flower. Here you go.
Did I smell the right one?
Don't eat it, just smell it. Anyhow.
Can I drop that in here?
Yeah,
and
okay. So these come in a plastic container, and they're designed really to drop in a pot. So Adam,
Drop it in there.
Okay.
Drop it.
Drop it like it's hot.
No.
You're done.
Drop it in a
That's
pot.
it.
Drop it in a pot.
You don't have to plant it. You don't have to buy potting soil. You're done. And then when it looks bad, you pluck it out and you put something new in
But this
it.
will last through the summer,
This
right?
will last until we have a hard freeze.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So, there you
so
go.
Plantopia and Botanica Gardens, that's where you'll find Chris H. Olsen. He's over here smelling a
It
leaf.
smells really good. Don't forget to bend over and smell the roses because that's what makes it all worth it.
Is that the saying? Bend over and smell
I
the
never
roses?
heard bend over and smell the roses. I heard smell the roses. But hey, okay.
Stop
you're
and smell the
Oh, that's
roses.
it.
Don't forget to kneel down and smell the roses.
That's because he's tall. He has
He
to bend
just
over.
left. We're in the weather garden today to talk about terracotta pots with Chris H. Olsen. And you said we're going to be aging these.
Yeah.
So we're going to take something like this and make it look like
Yep, this
that?
is a clean new terracotta pot. Now, some people try to clean their pots. We want them to look old and
Okay.
dirty. And this one I have behind, I don't know if the camera can show, but it has moss growing on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I love that look. So I'm going to show you how you can expedite the process on terracotta clay pots. So I'm going to need both your hands.
I may get sick with it. Just thinking
This
about
is good stuff. It's not bad yet.
Okay.
So we're using mixing yogurt and buttermilk.
Yeah, well, there's 3 ways to do it. Number 1, you can do it with fertilizer because most of the time it's what's in the soil that leaches out.
Okay.
The lime deposits, and fertilizer has that. So you can take a big, 5-gallon bucket, go by the directions like with Miracle-Gro, make it double the strong, and then you put the pot submersed in there for about a week.
Okay.
Take it out and then let it dry, and it will have the lime deposits on it. Now, but if you want the moss, that's different. So there's a couple ways to do moss. Number 1, you can take plain yogurt. So you don't need the flavor, just plain yogurt.
Okay.
And all you're gonna do is take a brush. I'm gonna take a smaller one, and then you're gonna dip that in your hair.
What are you doing?
I can't stand the smell of yogurt.
Are you serious?
I cannot stand it.
Me?
You're so
And,
weird.
and this is a fun project to do.
Look, we're painting with yogurt.
Yeah, okay, so you do that.
You can't even smell
You
it.
do the whole thing. See, it's not
I
bad.
don't
Do you
like
eat
it.
yogurt?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyhow, do that, and then you're going to put it in a shady, cool area outside, like maybe under a deck that stays moist. And you turn it upside down. You just let it sit on the ground. And within a couple months' time, it's going to be beautiful and aged. So
it'll look like this?
That will look like that, but no, this does not have the moss on it. Eventually, will grow. But to make it really quick, then you're going to take buttermilk. Do you hate buttermilk?
I like making biscuits with it.
Okay. And
Something about it just
you're
turns
gonna
my
pour
stomach.
the buttermilk. So this is like you're cooking in the kitchen, but it's better to do outside.
That's what I make my cornbread
then
with.
I
And you know what? That expiration date is a suggestion.
That is, I always keep it way over. And then I got this from the Weather Garden. This is real live moss. Now you want to make sure you get live green moss, and you're just going to break it up. And you could do this in a blender too, but sometimes if you make it too fine, I think it doesn't do as well. So I'm going to put that in our buttermilk, and I just make a couple cups. Anyhow, so you just do that, and then you're going to mix it in really good, and you could even make it a little bit finer if you want. This looks good, doesn't it?
No.
Look how good that looks.
Looks awesome.
It looks
I
like
actually
soup.
think it smells good.
It does smell good. Okay, then we're going to do the same exact thing, and you want to make sure you get chunks of the moss. And you're
Get the
just going to
chunks.
paint it. It's a chunk.
Ashley, I'm going to get you back, I promise. Just wait.
And then you do the exact same thing. And sometimes what I do is I'll let this dry. It dries very quickly. I'll come by and do one more coat over it to make it nice and thick. And then you're going to go do the same exact thing. Put it someplace cool and moist outside, and it will
Is it
start
going
to
to attract
grow.
a bunch of bugs and stuff?
Well, it dries out pretty quick, but
Okay.
not really, not really. And then what you do over time, see how you have the moss and the green start?
That's okay. I thought this was like a paper one.
No,
I didn't
that's
realize that was
real. That's
terracotta.
real. And
That's
these
awesome.
are aged, and then we keep
Yeah.
them, so it takes about 2 or 3 months. What's great about this is you also want to make sure you do the saucers too, because you want them to
right.
match.
You want it to match.
Now you're asking us, why do you do this? Well, not only does it look good, but like if you do it now, by the time the holidays come, you can take your poinsettia, put it in there with real green sheet moss, and it's a perfect gift.
There's the difference.
There's the
okay,
difference.
there you go. a little
Not
crafty.
doing this one.
Yeah, I like this. It's very cool.